Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Dunrovin Ranch in Lola, Montana. It's probably 82. That's what I'm guessing. And I'm going to talk to you today about some of my critters for a segment we're calling Fur and Feathers. And this is our first segment. And right here, right now, I'm going to ask you to send in pictures of your animals, past and present. And then I'd like to get on the phone with you and talk about how they came into your life. And because I'm betting that we all have pretty similar stories of what they've brought to us and what we've given them and our awesome relationship with them. Today I'm going to talk about my dogs. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about Max. But I would like to, I haven't been without a dog literally since I was 4 years old. I'm 58 now. And it started with a little terrier cross named Rusty. I think I was 4, maybe 6. You know how the mind goes. But at my little stable, because I was riding horses then, there was a stray dog who just hung out. And we became friends, and I asked my parents if I could just bring her home to give her a bath. And 18 years later, we were still together, and she was with me until she was probably 18, 19 years old. And I have never been without a dog. Right now, I have, you know who I have. Most of you know who I have, but I'll try to call them over here when they stop eating the horse hooves from the farrier and introduce you formally. I have Arrow, Scooby. He's called Scooby. I have Inu, who is a red heeler. And then you all know that I had a pug named Max. Now, Max passed away May 7th. And I want to show you the flowers that you all sent and Brianne arranged for me. I've been taking good care of them, and these are them. May, June, July, August, almost 3 months. 3 months ago, and I look at him every day and I think of him every day. He was probably 13 when he passed away. I knew it was time, and although I miss him, it was not one of those situations where I let it go on too long, or I had false hope, or I was going to try. It was, congestive heart failure, liver, all that was happening. So Max, I was living in Castle Rock, Colorado at the time. This was 10 years ago or so. And my neighbor had lost her Boston Terrier, and we located the dog at the Dumb Friends League, which is what the Humane Society is called in Castle Rock. I went down there, and that's how I got Inu. And that's another story, but that same friend, a couple days later, found a pug on Craigslist and took him in. And apparently he wanted to get on her bed, and that wasn't okay. So she immediately rehomed him to the assistant manager of this apartment complex. And then he started pooping in the house because he was scared and depressed. And she said, "Do you want a dog?" I said, "Absolutely. I mean, if you know Max, come on. Look at the mug on that guy." So I immediately took him, and that put me over the limit on dogs and got me kicked out, even though it was the assistant manager that offered me the third dog. But it was the best thing that could have happened. So there you go. So that's how I got Max. He was really depressed for quite some time. Someone just decided to get rid of him. He's lucky he ended up with me and not with someone who would have done some less than nice things with him, but I'm a lot luckier than he was. He was just, the personality on that guy was unbelievable. I never thought small dogs were dogs, really. I thought they were just cats, or I've always had big dogs, and boy, Max was something else. he had so much personality. He was so bossy. He snored. And in the beginning, it would keep me up at night. But then when I wouldn't hear the snoring, I'd get nervous, and that would wake me up. He brought, as the article in our magazine tells you, he brought smiles to everybody. He had a tongue that even when I got him when he was young, didn't fit in his mouth. It hung out all the time, and it wasn't because he didn't have teeth. He was just a poorly bred pug. He had 8 of the 10 congenital pug problems. So I always told him he was the perfect pug. Everyone smiled when they saw him. The kids loved him. I would bring him out of the office and say, "Oh, you have to meet Max." And out he'd come, and people would they would pull out cameras. He had animal magnetism, that guy. I think one of my favorite Max stories is, his picture's been taken by all kinds of international visitors here, but my favorite Max story, as far as his celebrity goes, is I had 2 guests ride with me last summer from Saudi Arabia. One of whom, his name was Faisal. The other guy, I don't remember at the moment. But they were a blast. They didn't speak English very well. They knew a few words. They did know the words Clint Eastwood, which they repeated over and over as we rode. They also knew the words cowboy movie. They asked me if we were lost, and I said yes. They asked me if this was safe, and I said no, and they thought that was hilarious, and we had the best time. So we get back, and I said, Faisal, I want you to meet Max. I take Max out onto the porch, and Faisal says, oh, I have to get a picture of you for my wife. Hold the dog. So I gave a picture of me and Max, and then Faisal sent it to me. And what he had done was have put on the bottom, Rocky Mountains, USA. So Max is actually an online postcard in Saudi Arabia. And I bet he is the only pug on a ranch in Lolo, Montana, who can claim to be on a Saudi postcard. I love that so much. I put it on Facebook, and I don't know if I posted it to you guys, but I think it's gonna come up on your screen shortly. The Max stories, that's all. Oh, so Max, I had Max cremated, and Sterling Miller had a wonderful idea. His nephew, Dean, who did some ranch hand work around here last summer, is a ceramicist, a very good one. And Sterling suggested that I ask Dean to make a special urn for Max. I thought that is a fantastic idea. I talked to Dean, and he's going to do it. And what I didn't know is, I don't know if you know this, but the glaze on pottery does actually have bone ash in it. I didn't know that. So he's going to actually use some of Max's ashes to make the glaze for Max's urn, which I think is amazing. I actually, my other dogs are getting older, and I actually asked Dean to make it slightly bigger, and then I will combine all their ashes together. The 3 of us have had lots of road trips together. We've had lots of adventures, and that we all ended up in what all 4 of us consider paradise is remarkable. So that's the Max story. When I have the urn, I will definitely talk to you about it on one of these episodes. I brought a couple things for you to look at. When I left Los Angeles, this is a continuation of Kelly and her dogs. When I left Los Angeles 10-ish years ago, I had just put down 2 of my dogs. Bailey was an Australian Shepherd, and Wag was a short-haired mutt. Wag was so named because I got her out of a box in front of a tiny store in the middle of winter, and she was 4 weeks old. And I said, don't look in the box, don't look in the box, don't look in the box, don't look in the box. I looked in the box, end of story. And she wagged constantly, so her name became Wag. Bailey, I was in the same little town in California. I was at a friend's Christmas party. And someone I didn't know, a stranger, walked up, handed me a puppy, and said, "Merry Christmas." And you must know by now that I said, "Oh boy, thanks," and I didn't give the dog back. And because it was Christmas, we all named her Bailey after George Bailey. It's a Wonderful Life. So Bailey and Wag were with me a while, 14 years, something like that. And they both got older, and they both had their issues, and they had to be put down more or less at the same time. And I was in a thrift store down in Los Angeles and walking around. And I don't buy T-shirts with things on them. But I said, whatever, Kelly, you're bored. Go walk around. So I went and I walked in the T-shirt aisle. And you won't believe what I found. So the first T-shirt I come across, and I still have them, is this one. It's barely hanging together at this point, but I love it because it says, "In moments of joy, all of us wish that we had a tail we could wag." It's an Auden quote. And I thought, wag? I can't believe it. So I kept this T-shirt. It's so bad now. I sleep in it sometimes. I sleep in it sometimes, but I don't want to wash it too much because it will fall apart. And then so I'm like, wow, that's amazing, Wag, and I just lost Wag. How cool is that? I'll get the T-shirt. So I keep walking, and about 30 seconds later, I find this one, Team Bailey. Isn't that incredible? I'm like, oh, wow. Wag and Bailey, they're still with me. They don't want to go. So I obviously, this one is a little too small. I don't wear it, but I keep it. I've had many, many, many dogs. Inu, come here. I'd like to introduce you to Inu. Hi, Munchkin. It's hot. Come here and sit. I mean, she's the world's best dog. I got her when she was 4. I went to the shelter to pick up my friend's Boston, and a woman was surrendering her dogs. And I thought, no way. So I whispered to her, "I'll meet you in the parking lot." And it was Inu and then a border collie named Jack, who I couldn't keep because Arrow would have nothing to do with another big male in the house. Inu's now 12. She's slowing down a little bit. She has some liver stuff going on, but she's comfortable. You don't see her as much as you used to because she gets tired easily and overheated easily. She is the world's best dog, sorry to say to all of you who think you have the best dog. She asked permission to get off furniture. She asked permission to come into the house, to come out of the house. She's also very controlling of Arrow and of Max. When Max passed away, she was so worried because since Max was, thank you, look at, see? Since Max was blind, he would follow her out to go to the bathroom and follow her around, and she'd bring him back. And I think when he was gone, she was afraid that she had lost him. She would stare at his place on the couch and was very, very upset. That's Inu. She's a red heeler. Some people think a red heeler cross, Australian cattle dog cross. We're not sure, but she is remarkable. You'll see her around. Arrow, come here, buddy. Come on. This is Arrow. Arrow's 12-ish. Come here, buddy. He's a pit bull greyhound. Come on, bud. He's 12. His nickname is Scooby-Doo. Oh, it's Arrow, A-E-R-O. His nickname is Scooby-Doo because when we left Los Angeles, we lived with my brother Scott, and Scott had a little Alaskan something dog, and her favorite toy was a Scooby-Doo plush animal, and the first thing Arrow did was rip it to shreds. So come here, Arrow, come here, buddy. You can see he's not nearly as obedient as Inu. He was actually a street dog in South LA. which is a terrible place for humans and animals. I had just lost Bailey and Wag. I wasn't going to get another dog, blah, blah, blah. Someone contacted me and said, I hear you have a place. I was on a quarter acre because, if you recall, I had to leave to live with my horse, etc. So I was living with Doc on a quarter acre, and they called and said, we have a dog that I think would be perfect for you. And I said, what? Tell me. They said, he's a 4-year-old lab. No, 1-year-old pit bull cross. So I took him sight unseen. He got out of the van. He arrived a half an hour later. Got out of the van. He could barely use his back legs. Emotionally just checked out, skin and bones. And he's just the best guy ever. Just a remarkable, remarkable dog. Very, very friendly. They got him out of the South LA shelter. He was going to be put down because they needed the room. They call that shelter the Killing Fields, by the way. And a woman from the lab rescue volunteered there every other Saturday to walk the dogs. And she kept him alive 2 weeks past his kill date because he was so great. And finally they said, you know what, we can't have this dog here anymore. We need the space. And she said, she told him, put him in some other little kennel. And that's how I got Arrow. Very, very, very lucky to have him. He's a really neat guy. He's very fast. Oh, he's harassing a magpie right now. And there goes Eni to assist. They get in trouble when they're together. Sometimes I'll bring them out separately, usually. Briefly again, when Max passed away, I panicked. And I took these two, then all of a sudden I realized how old the other ones were because I didn't even notice. And I took them I made an appointment to take them to the vet, have them checked out, get their blood looked at because I wanted to know where I stood with them. And my mind, I went down this rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, they both need to be put to sleep. I freaked. What am I going to do? So the morning of their vet appointment, clearly they're both still here. The morning of their vet appointment, I went on to the Western Montana Humane Society page, and I decided that I can't be without a dog, not for a minute, that I would get a small dog. You know, Max told me that indeed they are dogs. And I thought, well, considering my lifestyle, it's probably good to have a small dog who I can travel with if I drove around, who could stay inside, because it can be a little dangerous out here for dogs. And so you're going to love this. So there was one small dog available. Guess what his name was? Is anyone on the chat who can guess what his name was? Max. Son of a gun. Little black dog. I think it was 10. I think it was like a senior for senior situation, which is what I'm going to do. But I actually have learned a little bit of common sense about that much. And I said, you know, Kelly, why don't you just wait? Why don't you just wait? So you may, in the next few years, see some little dog running around. That would be mine. But Enu and Arrow are hanging in. Just arthritis, just old. You know how you feel in the morning? Me too. And that's how they feel in the morning. I think those are all, I have a million dog stories. I have a few minutes. Oh, here's another story about Bailey. Remember Bailey, the Australian Shepherd I had to put to sleep? Well, a couple years before that, I was living in Silver Lake, California, which is a little artsy area. And I had Bailey, and I was living in an apartment. And Bailey did not like fireworks. It was the 4th of July. I left the house for an hour, and I came back, and she was gone. She had pushed the air conditioner out of the window. She's 12. She's 12-ish. Fell 5 feet, somehow jumped over a wrought iron fence, and was gone. So Silver Lake, California is right on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard. It's very busy, very dangerous. So I start running around. I start running down Sunset Boulevard yelling for Bailey. I knew a homeless guy on the corner named Thomas, a really nice guy, and I ran up, Thomas, have you seen my dog? He said she went that way. So I'm continuing to run down Sunset Boulevard. I don't find her. I start calling all the animal hospitals I can think of. She did have tags. So I looked for hours and hours, and I came back home, and I was so upset. I get a call in the middle of the night from a vet, not in the valley, a ways away, but not terribly far. And they said, we have your dog. She got hit by a car. I said, is she alive? Yes. She's got a badly broken leg. I went, oh my God. So I drove to the vet, and they said, I told them what happened, and they said she was in the middle of the freeway. She had run the freeway, 101 at Gower, I think. She had run 5 miles and was hit by a car in the middle of a 4 or 5 lane freeway, we call them. Apparently 2 good Samaritans who didn't know each other stopped, picked her up, put them in the back of one of their cars, and drove her to this hospital. I never found them. I never know who to contact, but thank God for them. So I took Bailey home. She had a bright pink cast, and she was very, very, very terrified. I remember I didn't leave my apartment for 2 weeks. I was a teacher. It must have been summer vacation. Yeah, July 4th, right? And I slept with her on the floor because she was completely freaked out. And after 2 weeks, I had to go get some food. So I told her I'd be right back. But wait, it'll be okay. I'll never forget the look in her eyes. She looked at me like, don't go. I have to go, babe. I leave, hour, 90 minutes. I come back, she's done the same thing. I mean, I should have taken it out of the window. She knocked the air conditioning out, fell with broken legs. Fell 5 feet, climbed over a wrought iron fence, and she was gone. Running down Sunset Boulevard again, Bailey. This is kind of in the evening, and I go 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks to the corner. Bailey. This guy runs up. He's drunk, and he's wearing he's wearing a pink Speedo bathing suit, drunk, dancing on the corner. Okay, it's Silver Lake. That's all you need to know. He was looking for your dog? I said, yes. He goes, some lady in a Range Rover picked her up. And I literally rolled my eyes. And he goes, did she have a pink cast on? I went, yes. He said, a lady in a Range Rover picked her up. And it was one of those movie moments. I spontaneously hugged him. Thank you. God, do I have time to go on with this? So I make a bunch of flyers. I put them on SLA. I put them on every Range Rover for miles. I don't hear a thing. It's just this long story of how I found her, and this person told me this. She was in a vet hospital on the other side of Los Angeles. Went to get her. They x-rayed her. Nothing additionally, nothing bad happened to her after she left the second time. Finally got her back. Took the air conditioning out of the window. And that's my Bailey story. Bailey of the gray sweatshirt story. That's, boy, I could go on. Hopefully you've seen pictures of little Max, Maximilian, Maximus Prime, Maxwell Smart, Goose, Silly Goose, those were all his names. I very much want to know about your animals. Sometimes on Facebook and sometimes on the chat I hear a little bit, but not really. We're doing a program called Fur and Feathers. I need your pictures. I want to talk to you. I talked to C, Gabby, I Love. Are those the only 3 members I've talked to on the phone? Because otherwise I'll have to tell you about my, next week I'll tell you about my, the Mourning Dove who adopted me and who I read poetry to. but I'd really rather learn about you. So please send me your photos. I'll mark up, we'll get on the phone, and it will be very, very fun. I appreciate you listening. Thank you for Max's flowers. When I get the urn, I'll be sure to let you see it. And until then, I have to go feed horses. Appreciate you joining me. See you next week. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.